Hi friends, Ashley from Wildwoods&Homestead. I did another video on our Walipini greenhouse. The last video I did, I shared how we plan to cool the greenhouse. Geoff and his dad put in a large fan, and that was just the first part to that. So I will put a link to that video in the description in case anybody might be interested to follow that journey on how we've been building this Walipini greenhouse. This is the cooling system. We do plan to heat the greenhouse with our outdoor off-grid wood burner. We use that wood burner to also heat our house and our water, and we are hoping that we can hook that up and also heat the greenhouse so that we can maybe make this a growing space year-round in our Zone 3 gardening area where we live. So last time at the other end, the guys had put that fan in, and now they needed to put in, I don't know exactly what they were called. I think they're called louvers. They framed in those two windows at the other end, and those louvers will be closed, and they are hooked up to the fan at the other end. And then all of it is wired to a sensor. So when the greenhouse hits a certain temperature, a certain heat, then those louvers open and the fan at the other end turns on and replaces the air in the greenhouse and cools it to the proper temperature in order to continue growing, because we have had some really high temperatures. This is our first full year using the greenhouse, and we were hitting I think the highest temperature was 154 Fahrenheit. We kind of go back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit, so I often I kind of sometimes forget the temperatures. I'll just look and go, oh, it's 32 Celsius, or oh, it's 154. And yeah, I think the highest was 154, which was insanely hot in there and not very conducive to growing. One of the things that Geoff found as he was trying to fit these louvers was that he had to sort of file the edges in there to get it to fit. All of this is just so custom. Like, Geoff has had to really kind of customize everything, because he hasn't exactly found anybody who has done a Walipini greenhouse quite like this one. I don't know if in the beginning we were fully intending for it to be so intricate or such a huge project, but it has kind of progressed in that direction, and we just want to finish it so that it becomes something useful for us. And it's also just something that we really enjoy. We have really long, dark winters, and sometimes we just think it would be really nice to have a place to go to when we're all getting a little bit stir crazy, when our days are shorter. We're really looking forward to seeing if we can heat this greenhouse and have a place to go out there. We have Geoff wired in lights kind of last year and over the winter, so we can be in there whenever it's dark outside. And it's just a little place that we're hoping the kids and I can go out there to do school, or just an evening after supper, and just spend some time together when we're all kind of getting a little bit stir crazy being inside the house. And then of course our hope is that we can continue to grow our own food, because that is a real passion that Geoff and I have had for our family for years, has been the desire to learn how to grow and harvest our own food. And speaking of harvest, one of the harvests that the kids and I are working on right now is our Saskatoon berry harvest. And I shared in a few of my earlier videos that we had to clear our land by hand. So we've been clearing small pockets of the land by hand. And I know that that was really tedious for Geoff and his dad. But one of the benefits has been that as they're clearing, they're not just clear cutting everything. They're able to save trees that we want. We have a lot of poplar and willow, and of course Saskatoon berries. These are native to our area and they grow really well. We have found that they don't seem to grow so well when we try to uproot them and transplant them, or even just plant them. So what we've done is, as we've opened up gardens and our driveway and an area for our chickens and then our shop, when we would find a Saskatoon berry bush, we would save that and just try to cultivate it and encourage it to grow. And it's actually really neat the way that the Saskatoon berries, they grow around our garden, and then we have a few up in our little orchard that we are trying to grow. We have haskaps up there, apricot trees, and apple trees. And so we've been working really hard to get the soil conducive to basically growing a little fruit orchard. And the Saskatoons have just, the ones that have popped up naturally, we just leave those and continue to trim them and cultivate them. And we have found that when the Saskatoons come in to start to ripen, we every day walk around and we just pick a bucket full, because they kind of ripen in waves, and we'll go around and pick some, and some will still be red or even green. And then as those ripen, we'll go around and harvest those. Currently we have a lot of beets and carrots coming in the garden, and I did plant them really close together, so we've been going out and thinning them and just taking the ones that are of a good size and adding those to our meals. This is something that we knew we wanted to do years and years ago, so we started shopping in such a way that would mimic what it would be like if we were to eat from our garden. And we've sort of changed what we eat, basically, so just whole foods, whole meats and veggies. And then as we plan our meals, we plan it around what we can grow and what's in season. And because we've spent years just eating that way, it's not such a shock to us and to our kids when we start to move away from the grocery store and more towards the foods that we can grow. And because I was sharing a day in the life, on this day I had also made some soap. I've had a lot of requests for this Clean House Day bar, so I've really been getting on making more of it and getting that cured so that I can get that up in the shop. And also when I was doing this one and I brought it to a trace, I went ahead and just kept working with it and got it to this nice thick batter, because I don't know, I just think that's so pretty. And then you can kind of, mold the soap and play with the top of it and make it all pretty. So I had wanted to share that, and I am going to share that recipe. I'm working on a video to show how to make it. I wanted to make sure that I could take time to be clear on it, because I know a lot of you are soap makers and you are maybe DIYers like myself, and maybe you want to make it on your own. If you are not a soap maker, or you're just really don't have the time, or maybe you're just not really interested in making soap, but you're still very interested in that soap, I will have it stocked back in my store in the next probably 3 weeks. And I do have other dish bars that are very similar to that one, and I will leave a link to our shop in the description. And then I was just sharing the meal that we made. The Saskatoon berries that we picked that day, that was our first day harvesting, so we didn't bring very many in. And at one point I had left the bucket somewhere that were a little too close to my 2-year-old, and I caught him just stuffing his face with the berries. So I was so discouraged because I had really wanted to start our berry harvest. I will wash and freeze the berries, and we will do something with those throughout the winter, whether it's desserts or jams or jellies, because I don't really have a whole lot of time to get it done throughout the summer. But I didn't want those few berries to go to waste, so I added them to a mushroom sauce. I made kind of my own cream of mushroom soup type of sauce, and I added the berries to kind of make it a little bit sweet to this pork roast, and it turned out so good. And I can actually it was just a recipe that I made up on the fly, but I can write down the recipe in the description box for anybody who might be interested. And again, I just really appreciate you guys joining us, and I really hope to see you next time.